Hi, my name's Helen. I am mum to Carl, who is 26, and Liam, who is 23. I've been married for nearly 30 years, which for those that know me think that's pretty damn amazing actually. My eldest son Carl has complex medical needs, physical disabilities, learning disabilities, and a range of health interventions that are needed in his life to keep him alive. My 23-year-old also has Asperger's. Our lives have been really blessed by having both the boys, but in particular having Carl, who has a real passion for life. He absolutely loves all things to do with sport, whether he's playing wheelchair basketball, whether he's playing wheelchair tennis, or watching his favourite team, Man United, play, or going to watch Wimbledon. You know, everything that matters to him is around sport and living the life that he chooses. In children's services, everything fitted around him. He was in the centre of all things, so health, social care, education and any voluntary sector support we got all revolved around what mattered to him, who he was, what he wanted to do and how he wanted to live his life growing up. The real challenge came for us when we transitioned him through into adult services. It felt like that proverbial square peg being rammed into that round hole constantly, trying to make him fit in a system that just wasn't designed for him. He really was told that because he had a physical disability and a learning disability, he could only choose which set of support mechanisms through social care were available to him. So he could have physical disability support, learning disability support, but not both. Carl didn't fit in a neat and tidy box like that. Carl needed to access all the services that he needed to grow into his adult life. As he moved out of full-time specialist college, he moved into day centre provision because that was all that was available to him. It didn't matter that that wasn't perfect for him and that he didn't have a ready-made peer group there. So I had a young man that through children's had been happy, go lucky, had been really, really passionate about all the things that mattered to him. And suddenly I had a young man who needed an afternoon's sleep at 20. He lost his zest for life, he lost his passion, and actually he was having seizures that were out of control, despite all of our interventions. And the more depressed and despondent he got, the more difficult it was for him to manage his health. We got to the point that his health needs were so large that we had a continuing healthcare assessment, which led to a completely different conversation with somebody. We were so lucky that somebody for the first time ever in Carl's life, since moving into adult, said, "Carl, what matters to you? What do you want to do with your life? How can we help you achieve the goals that you want to achieve?" That was revolutionary. We'd spent the last few years being told that he was too complicated, not worth it, and that actually it didn't matter what his desires were, what his outcomes needed to be. It was about how he fit in the system. The different conversation took time. It took patience, because actually we were quite a traumatised family in that we'd spent a lot of time being told how difficult we were for the system to manage. But over time, we got to an amazing care and support plan that was focused entirely around what mattered to Carl. His health and care needs were almost secondary, and how they would then be met to allow him to live the life that he really, really wanted to live. We had a personal health budget, which just meant that health gave us the money that we would have used in prescriptive services to use in a really different way. Carl chose to use personal assistants. We employ them, we are supported to do that, so that he can go out, enjoy his life and not always have his mum and dad tagging along. Suddenly, I'm surplus to requirements. It's great. I get to be his mum again. We've used his personal health budgets, as I say, to employ personal assistants, but we've used them in different ways as well. We bought Carl a reclining sofa. Because of some of Carl's medical needs, he needs to change position really, really regularly. Now, what we could have done is sourced him a clinical medical bed that we could raise and lower. That would look rubbish in his lounge. So actually we used the budget in a different way. Bought him a reclining sofa at a tenth of the cost, but actually it just looks like home now with a sofa. He goes out and about, he goes to watch sport matches, he has a love of shopping, he has a love of food. So his PAs are always taking him to places. He's recently been to see Harry Potter studios, he's been down to London to Sea Life Centre, but he doesn't need me to do that part of his life anymore. He gets to go alongside people that know him and can support him and are fully trained, and he can live his best life, which then frees me up to do things like this. Because we got to such an amazing place, Carl's seizures really calmed down. I can't say that it was because of a medical intervention, but I can say that a much less stressed young man meant that his seizures decreased, and I'm really delighted to say that he's fully controlled now. Because we were in such a great place, my husband and I had a holiday of a lifetime for our 25th wedding anniversary a few years ago. We'd never ever had a holiday by ourselves since our honeymoon before the children were born. We disappeared off to the Maldives and Dubai. I have to say it wasn't paid for by the personal health budget, but the personal health budget did provide wraparound 24-hour care for Carl to allow us to leave. We had an amazing time and actually discovered that we quite like each other as a married couple still. And a few years on, you know, we're just short of our 30th wedding anniversary. So it's working. Personal health budgets have changed our life, but what's more important to us is that different conversation that moved us through to where we want to be as a family.